Welcome to the Commitment and Expenditure Requirements webcast session, part of HUD's introduction to the new Home Final Rule webcast series. In this session, I will explain new requirements related to the commitment and expenditure of home funds that were established in the Home Final Rule published on July 24, 2013. The new rule clarifies and expands on home commitment requirements. In addition, there's a major revision to the concept of CHDO reservations and a new CHDO expenditure deadline. These changes are designed to ensure that home funds are used as expeditiously as possible to develop affordable housing. The new rule made a number of changes to the definition of commitment at 24 CFR 92.2. In reviewing public comments submitted on the home proposed rule, it became clear to HUD that many PJs did not recognize the point at which it is appropriate to execute a written agreement committing home funds to a specific project. In response, HUD has amended the definition of commitment to make clear that a PJ may not enter into a written agreement for a home project until all necessary financing has been secured, a budget and a schedule for the construction or rehabilitation have been established, and the underwriting and subsidy layering requirements have been met. The home regulations have always required that home funds not be committed to a project unless the PJ can reasonably expect construction or rehabilitation will begin within 12 months. Consequently, the schedule initially established for a project under the new rule must anticipate construction to begin within 1 year. The subsidy layering and underwriting requirements have been expanded to require PJs to assess the developer's capacity and fiscal soundness and the current neighborhood market demand for the project. These assessments must be completed before the PJ commits home funds to a project. In addition to these changes, the new rule requires that written agreements committing home funds must have dated signatures. This will eliminate any uncertainty about the date home funds were committed to a project and is important for determining compliance with the 24-month commitment deadline and the new 4-year deadline for project completion. The most significant change to the commitment definition is the elimination of non-project specific reservations of set-aside funds for community housing development organizations, or CHDOs. Under the new rule, non-project specific CHDO reservations will not count toward either the 24-month commitment deadline or the 24-month CHDO reservation deadline. Only the commitment of funds to a specific CHDO project will count toward these deadlines. This change to the commitment definition becomes effective on October 23, 2013. However, HUD will begin implementing the new definition for home commitment and CHDO reservation deadlines that occur on or after January 1, 2015. This provides PJs with some time to improve their performance in committing home funds to specific CHDO projects. The new rule at 92-500 establishes a separate 5-year deadline for expenditure of CHDO set-aside funds. The home rules have always included a 5-year deadline for expenditure of home funds. HUD has found, however, under this methodology, strong performance in other parts of a PJ's program has obscured a lack of performance among CHDOs. By measuring the expenditure of CHDO funds separately from the rest of a PJ's home allocation, HUD can ensure that CHDO set-aside funds are being used timely to provide affordable housing. This new deadline will commence on January 1, 2015. Shortly, HUD will begin publishing monthly deadline compliance reports that include this deadline. PJs will have a significant period of time to evaluate expenditure rates on existing CHDO projects and take corrective actions before this new deadline is implemented. PJs need to immediately begin reviewing and revising their policies and procedures to ensure that home funds are not committed to projects until all necessary financing is secured, a budget and development schedule are established, and the required subsidy layering and underwriting requirements have been completed. Remember that PJs must also assess the developer's capacity and fiscal soundness, as well as the current neighborhood market demand for the project as part of underwriting. PJs should ensure that developers and other program partners with whom they work are aware of these requirements and the PJ's new procedures for implementing them. PJs must also ensure that all signatories to its home written agreements accurately date their signatures. PJs should look at their pipeline of shovel-ready or near shovel-ready CHDO set-aside projects to determine which projects are ready for a commitment of home funds based upon these new requirements. PJs should use the time between now and January 1st, 2015 to make whatever adjustments are necessary to meet the commitment and CHDO reservation deadlines that occur in 2015 and beyond. PJs will need to track the rate of expenditure in their CHDO set-aside projects to ensure that the separate 5-year expenditure deadline is met. PJs should use HUD's deadline compliance status reports to track progress toward these deadlines. Thank you for joining in the Commitment and Expenditure Requirements webcast session. Be sure to tune in to the additional webcasts in this series, each addressing a specific aspect of the new requirements. You can also visit the new Home Final Rule page on the Home website for additional guidance and resources.